Is this particular story a cause for concern? I've seen a couple of the transcripts, actually, and I mean, look, you don't know what we're dealing with this stuff. I certainly don't. But I mean, it does look like he's having a chat with him.
Well, it's a cause for concern for the individual if he's felt that this program that he's been working on, that is electronic, it's a computer talking to, has become his friend. Now, the sentiment underneath it, can or are people trying to develop computer programs with sentient ability? And I have to admit to everyone that's watching out there, I had to look up what sentient meant. It's the able to perceive or feel things. Yeah. This phrase that gets thrown around by
one of the things that makes us kind of human in a way, or I suppose animals, living basically, doesn't it?
Living creatures, and there is this desire to try and make the chatbots we interact with, the different organisations we interact with, the first time you get into there where you're dealing with a non-human, to make it a more human type experience, and therefore that is being developed.
Is it possible that this could happen? Because we've seen it in all the sci-fi films, haven't we? And is it possible that AI is going to develop to the point where, look, let's take it to its natural conclusion, it becomes our overlord?
Well, I wouldn't say possible that it's going to happen. I'd say it's probable, if not highly likely. But not that AI is going to become our overlord. It's going to become much more human-like as we interact with it. In the way we deal with things in everyday life. You look at the different chat mechanisms that you have on your phone whenever you talk to them, whether it's Siri with Apple or whatever one Google uses and all the rest of it. They're becoming more intuitive, and every time there's a new release that comes out every year, the different providers are trying to make it more human-like in your interactions. That's what's happening here, and eventually, as processing power gets better, as the underlying artificial intelligence databases and the ability to teach computers to learn from what it is that they're doing gets better and better and better, this will become more and more human-like.
Yeah, I mean, I had a stand-up row with Cora from the Royal Bank of Scotland the other day, and she seemed very, very intuitive when I was shouting at her, but not so intuitive when I asked her why can't she stop me getting defrauded. She went remarkably quiet after that. But, yeah, I mean, this is...
So perfectly qualified for a politician.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this is the point. Some people make the case for the fact that we should almost be led by AI because they're supposedly unemotional, almost incapable of error, and then we don't have to deal with things like, parties and beer.
That's where the difficulty comes in. AI and certainly what we've got around at the moment, there is error built into it because what it's got underneath it are a series of databases that have been programmed by humans. Humans, whenever they program these things, will put flaws in. So you get flaws in. You look at the AI that's underpinned the Metropolitan Police use of facial recognition software. Which was in there. That produced an awful lot of errors because the base database was flawed.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but no, exactly. But is this something we should actually be pursuing? Okay, is it a nice thing? Do you think? Because a lot of people are deeply concerned about it.
Well, I think it's an inevitability. Whether we should be pursuing it or not, I don't see why not. We interact with our electronic mates, friends, machines in a different way every day. I instead of typing as you had to do 10 years ago, I can now speak to my computer and it'll type stuff up on it. I can ask my computer to do things and it'll put stuff in the diary for me and everything else. You can have different devices in all your rooms around the house and ask them to turn the lights on, to change channel on the TV, to do everything else. The technology is developing.
That's true. Of course, if you are watching right now, then do not tell your AI to change channel on the TV. My AI on my phone appears to only recognise the word ducking, which is quite, I think, interesting. But yes, look, it is an interesting one for a lot of people, the AI thing. And I can't help but wonder, if in your profession as a former spook, okay, whether or not this is easily hacked, whether or not there could be some damage in the long run here.
Oh, very easily hacked. That's one of the big difficulties. And then you can use the technology to hack the people. And this is where the danger really comes in. So the technology itself, the software in it, the hardware can be hacked, the software can be hacked, and a lot of it's listening. I sit there and I've got an Apple Watch, and there's times that I'm sitting there and I turn around to my wife and say something, and all of a sudden Siri responds. Or I'm on a telephone call and Siri responds. It's continuously listening. The better devices, there's good security in them, but some of the cheaper devices, there's no security, and that can be hacked. But then the messaging can be turned back on you, and that can start to hack you.